what's up? I'm Congilio, and I am really excited to be working with Premier Guitar today to bring you this lesson on dominant 7 arpeggios and how to really dress them up. Get you a little outside, bring you back inside, that kind of thing. Now, I teach dominant 7 arpeggios all the time. I've done quite a bit of it, but one of the things that's cool is to kind of dress them up with a little bit of a half-step approach into them. I'll explain what all that is, but first what we're going to do is we'll talk about the chord progression, we'll talk about how to actually play the dominant 7 arpeggio in question, and then how to take it to the next level and approach it from a half step away from each note. And it really gives you a fun sort of uneasy outside sound. You heard me doing that a lot in the opening track. It's all dominant 7 chords throughout the progression. I'll show you how we can target them and have a lot of fun and really use dominant 7 arpeggios as the vehicle for improvising over this track. All right, let's jump in and talk about it. All right, so let's dive into the progression first so we know what chords we're playing over. That beginning jam I was playing to starts with a C7 for 2 bars, then it goes down to B flat 7, back up to C7, then it's going to go to G7, A flat 7, B flat 7, and then C7. So it's important to know what chords you're going to be playing over. That really helps when you're putting stuff like arpeggios over top of the particular chord in question. Okay, so a dominant 7 chord is made up of 4 notes. We're going to use C, E, G, and B flat. Those are the notes in a C7 chord. And these fingerings that we're going to work on, we're just going to work on one in this lesson. Plays each one of those notes individually. That's what arpeggios do. And again, I'm going to breeze by some of the theory because hopefully you know a little bit of this already. Then you can dress up those arpeggios that you know. Okay? So that same shape and fingering, we're going to use it for all of the chords that went by because that's how you would do it. You would be able to put each one over top of each chord. Okay? So over the C7, we'll start with our C on the 8th fret, 6th string, E on the 5th string, 7th fret, G 5th string, 10th fret, and then B flat 4th string, that's going to be your 8th fret. So that's one octave. Next octave, C 4th string, 10th fret, E 3rd string, 9th fret. There's a little triad right there. Nice little move there that you might already know. Then the G on the 2nd string, 8th fret. There's your B flat there on the 11th fret, 2nd string, and then 1st string, 8th fret for your octave. And played together, sounds like that. Now, what I can do is I'll bring up the track and I'll play it over each chord, okay? And then I'll talk about how I approach it to make it sound a little more interesting. So here you go. I'll talk you through it. A 1, 2, C7 arpeggio. Again. How about a whole step down, B flat. C, down to G, A flat, B flat, C. You gotta move quickly when you have that much. So let's do C again. Yeah, a little more drive there. Now we're gonna do something fun. We're gonna approach each note from a half step away. So let's talk about that. So now you have that fingering, and let's just talk about that inside fingering right there on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. Make sure you get this down first and see that. Now each one of those notes, the root, the 3rd, the 5th, and the flat 7 of that chord, that's what an arpeggio notates, or denotes, we can hit that and approach it from a half step away. But you have to see the shell first. And it really doesn't matter how you approach it. If you want to do it sort of like you're playing the arpeggio and use the same fingerings, you can. I kind of do it sort of just, I freewheel it, I go for it. Because my brain knows and sees the outline of it over top of that chord. Okay, so if we play it again, let's go back to the beginning of the track. 1, 2, arpeggio first. Half step away from each one. Here's good. Right before you change to the B flat. That's just the arpeggio. How about half step away? G7. A flat. Now let's mix them a lot. Start with it. Little pentatonic idea. Hit the root note. There you have it. So you heard when I played the dominant 7 arpeggio, and then you heard how I kind of spiced it up by doing the half-step approach. It's that little sort of, it's uneasy sort of feeling, and that's going to be common when you're going into these targeted notes from a half step away. So you got to end the lick or the idea or the phrase with something that really sounds like it pulled it back in, maybe a blues lick, pentatonic rock idea, anything like that. But what's really cool is you can use this in a blues progression when you're going to the 4 chord. So let's briefly talk about that, and then we'll wrap it up. So this is a really fun idea you can use in blues playing when you're going from the 1 to the 4 chord. I mean, you can use it anywhere in the blues progression, but this is the kind of thing you don't want to overdo it. I mean, you can hear me in the beginning of the lesson playing it in that first jam that I played over, and it's almost like, oh man, he's playing that a lot. Well, I did that on purpose to kind of really hammer home the idea. But in a blues progression, we'll stay in the key of C. Let's say we're using like a C9 kind of idea. Now, over top of that chord, you could play your dominant 7 arpeggio, because at the heart of a 9 chord is a dominant chord. There you go. So experiment with that on your own. I just wanted to drop that in there really quickly because that's kind of how I stumbled upon this, because I was playing so many dominant 7 arpeggio ideas over blues that I was like, well, what if it's not a blues song? Let's tackle that in the early part of the lesson, but let's come back to a 12 bar and see how it can really benefit us. Again, this is something that is meant to kind of drop in and twist the listener's ear, and really don't stay on it too much, because it's going to be overdone, I think, if you do it too much. I think it'll really tax the ear. But that's the thing. You want to drop these things in. Somebody goes, whoa, what was that? That was cool. So discretion is important. Understanding the dominant 7 arpeggio first is really, really important. And then once you learn that one, they're all over the guitar. And then you can apply this concept to not only those, but major 7 arpeggios, minor 7 arpeggios, and have some really fun ways that you can twist around the notes that sound great over the chords. It's going to be a lot of fun once you get it. Okay? Take it slow. Really sort of take it 1 chord at a time, if you will, and make sure you have a handle on those fingerings before you try to get too tricky. All right, this has been awesome. Really, really fun time working with Premier Guitar on this lesson. My name's Congilio. I'll see you on the next one.